Look around you for a moment. The windows in your home, the windshield of your car, the screen of your smartphone, the bottle holding your favorite drink, and even the skyscrapers that define modern cities all have one thing in common. They're made from glass. It may seem like an ordinary material, but glass is one of the most important products ever created. Without it, modern buildings couldn't fill with natural light. Cars would be far less safe, smartphones wouldn't exist, and hospitals, laboratories, and solar panels would all be completely different. Every year, manufacturers produce hundreds of millions of tons of glass for construction, transportation, technology, food packaging, and countless other industries. Behind every sheet of glass is a fascinating business involving giant sand mines, enormous furnaces, advanced manufacturing plants, precision engineering, and a global transportation network. So how does ordinary sand become crystal clear glass? Why is this invisible industry worth billions of dollars? And what does it take to run one of the world's largest glass manufacturing businesses? Today, we're going inside the glass business, the invisible industry. Every piece of glass begins with one surprisingly simple ingredient: sand. But not just any sand. Glass manufacturers need high-purity silica sand, a special type of sand that contains an extremely high percentage of silicon dioxide. This valuable raw material is usually mined from large open-pit quarries or ancient sand deposits. Before mining begins, geologists carefully survey the land to locate silica deposits pure enough for glass production. Once a suitable site is found, heavy excavators remove the top layers of soil to expose the bright white silica sand underneath. The sand is then collected by giant loaders and transported by dump trucks to a nearby processing plant. There, it is washed, screened, and sorted to remove clay, dust, stones, and other impurities. Only the cleanest silica sand is good enough to continue the journey toward becoming perfectly clear glass. Once the silica sand is cleaned, it still isn't ready to become glass. First, it is carefully mixed with other raw materials, including soda ash and limestone. Each ingredient has a specific purpose. Soda ash lowers the melting temperature of the sand, making the manufacturing process more efficient. Limestone improves the strength and durability of the finished glass. Many factories also add crushed recycled glass, known as cullet. Because cullet melts much faster than raw materials, it reduces energy consumption and lowers production costs. Powerful automated systems measure every ingredient with incredible precision before sending the mixture to the furnace. Even a small error in the recipe can affect the clarity, strength, and quality of the final product. Once everything is perfectly mixed, the raw materials begin their journey toward the hottest part of the factory. At the heart of every glass factory is a giant furnace operating 24 hours a day. Inside, temperatures reach nearly 1,600 degrees Celsius, hot enough to completely melt the raw materials into a glowing liquid. The furnace never stops running because cooling it down would take days and cost millions of dollars to restart. As the mixture melts, air bubbles and impurities slowly rise to the surface and are removed, leaving behind perfectly clear, molten glass. The glowing liquid then flows continuously through carefully controlled channels. Every second, sensors monitor the temperature and thickness to ensure the glass meets exact specifications. This molten glass is now ready to be shaped into everything from windows and bottles to smartphone screens and skyscraper panels. Once the glass leaves the furnace, it must be shaped before it begins to cool. For flat glass used in windows and skyscrapers, manufacturers use a process called the float glass method. The glowing molten glass gently flows onto a bath of liquid tin. Because glass is lighter than tin, it floats perfectly on the surface, creating an incredibly smooth and perfectly flat sheet. As it slowly moves across the tin bath, giant rollers carefully control its thickness. Some sheets are made thin for picture frames and windows, while others are much thicker for buildings, storefronts, and safety glass. The glass then enters a long cooling tunnel called an annealing layer. Here, it cools down slowly over several hours. This controlled cooling removes internal stress, making the glass stronger and much less likely to crack. Only after this careful process is the glass ready for cutting and finishing. Not all glass becomes windows. Some of it is transformed into bottles, jars, drinking glasses, laboratory equipment, car windshields, or even smartphone screens. Each product follows its own manufacturing process. For glass bottles, machines cut glowing drops of molten glass and drop them into precision molds. Compressed air then blows the hot glass against the walls of the mold, creating its final shape in just a few seconds. Large sheets of architectural glass are cut by computer-controlled machines with incredible accuracy. Some glass is strengthened through a process called tempering, where it is heated again and rapidly cooled. Tempered glass is much stronger than ordinary glass and breaks into small, less dangerous pieces instead of sharp shards. This is the type of glass commonly used in cars, office buildings, shower doors, and many modern structures. Making glass is only half the business. The real challenge is selling millions of tons of glass to customers around the world, while keeping production costs under control. Building a modern glass factory can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. The business requires enormous furnaces, automated production lines, robotic handling systems, quality control laboratories, warehouses, and an extensive transportation network. Energy is one of the biggest expenses, because glass furnaces operate around the clock at temperatures approaching 1,600 degrees Celsius. Shutting down a furnace isn't an option, since restarting it can take days and cost millions of dollars. Raw materials, transportation, maintenance, skilled workers, and strict quality standards all add to the operating costs. Yet demand continues to grow because nearly every major industry depends on glass. The companies that produce high-quality glass efficiently, recycle materials, and deliver products quickly are the ones that dominate this multi-billion-dollar global business. As cities expand and technology continues to evolve, the demand for glass keeps growing. Every new skyscraper, office tower, airport, shopping mall, electric vehicle, smartphone, and solar panel increases the need for high-quality glass. Today's manufacturers are investing in smarter factories, artificial intelligence, robotics, and advanced recycling systems to produce glass more efficiently while reducing energy consumption and carbon emissions. Scientists are even developing stronger, lighter, and more energy-efficient glass for the next generation of buildings and electronic devices. But despite all these innovations, one fact remains unchanged. A handful of ordinary minerals heated to extreme temperatures become one of the most valuable materials in the modern world. The next time you look through a window, unlock your smartphone, or drive behind a windshield, remember the incredible journey that began with nothing more than grains of sand. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos exploring the world's biggest industries and business empires. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.